Alrighty, Luke. Here is Big Bertha. Here's the control panel. What we have here is the main battery on and off switch right here. We got our water pump on with that light. That turns it off and on. This turns off everything, but when you're connected to shore power, meaning AC is connected down below, and I'll show you that later, that means that you're always going to be on with AC power. When you have AC power, the microwave will be lit up. When you have DC power, your monitors, this is your propane detection monitor. So that'll go off if it smells propane, LPG. You have another carbon monoxide alarm here that you can put wherever you want. And that is brand new. Here's another one in here. I'm gonna make this into the bed, but right now, this is what it looks like without the bed configuration. You can put a table there, but anyway, the bed actually gets supported by this table. Table goes across this way here. There's this little guy here that goes right from here to here, and then all these fold into the bed. These guys basically unvelcro and they lay out flat, and then same with that one here, and you stack them on top of each other and remove that thing, and that completes your bed. Engine 3/4 memory foam, so I'll put that down, as well as an electric blanket. So that is that part. Going back to the control panel, we have your test. We don't want to leave this on. You just want to kind of like leave it on for a second and then turn it off. Leave it on will burn out the switches. So here is your battery level. Right now it's showing charged. Whenever you get down to like this F, then you're kind of F'd. Just kidding. But usually it'll be around between the yellow and the green, the third and the fourth. This is your gray water, like whatever goes down for the shower, whatever goes down the drain there, goes into a 26-gallon holding tank. You have 32-gallon freshwater tank, and then here's your poop tank. That is your called a black or holding tank. That one there is only like a 12-gallon tank. So that's basically what you just flush down the toilet. You don't really need a whole lot of water. I'll have the system shocked and treated, so you won't smell anything. And I do have poopery spray, so you don't kill yourself from pooping in this small confined area. Here's your LPG, liquid propane gas. You don't have to worry about that. You'll have plenty of gas to do whatever you want with, because it's bigger than a barbecue tank. It's a 7 or 8 gallon tank. Let's go check. All your schematics are right here. So 32 fresh, 8.3 gallon propane tank. Oh no, sorry, that's just 8.3 pounds per gallon. 6.7 gallons is your propane tank. It's 4.5 pounds per gallon, a little bit lighter. This does have 6 seat belts, and I guess it doesn't tell us our other tank, but I'm pretty sure it's 32 for the fresh, 26 for the gray water, and for your black tank is 12 for your poop. That is your pump. That is, it'll make noise, it'll pressurize the system. Right now I'm testing out the hot water heater, which is actually underneath here, so it will get warm. It's a 6-gallon hot water heater, and it gets up to like 120 degrees, about the same temperature as when you're in the house. So it will burn you if you don't have cold water with it. So make sure you run a little bit of water first when you take a shower, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is your trash can receptacle. I need to put some new screws in because they fell out from vibrating. This is your heater. This is a house heater. It's 11,500 BTU heater. It's LPG, so it runs off the propane, and it'll heat this thing up in probably 5-10 minutes, if that. It's super powerful. you can run it. But in this bed configuration, you can still run it. You just can't have anything stored under here, shoes, whatever, because this temperature here gets well over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, so it could catch things on fire, perhaps. You have LED lights throughout. These are all been converted over to LEDs. This one doesn't work off of the house batteries, it's just LED AAA. You have your light there, your tissues, another light there. You have your outlet. You have an outlet under here for like your TV. So when you're running on AC power, shore power, when you're plugged in, like an extension cord plug into the vehicle, we don't really need to use these inverters. These are just when you're like, you know, you're gonna go camping and you're just running on DC power, then that's fine to use those. Just make sure that you either unplug them or turn them off, because they will draw power and drain the battery just with them plugged in. But since we're on shore power, we're okay. Here's the DVD player. One of my customers scratched it up, but it does do HD TV. So it has an HD TV antenna. So you just go from that source there. Let me just quickly plug it in really quick and show you. Please hold. All right. Does have a remote control, which is kind of nice to use, you know, because you're so far away from the TV. So when you first turn it on, press power, it'll automatically mainly go to the DVD. I'll take out some of the DVDs in here. That one's PG-13, so when you get released, I guess you can watch some of those, but we'll take out the bad ones. I think I only have Fight Club. You go to your stations. So you just go through and you should be able to pick up, like, you know, KBYU. Maybe not. I might have to actually search for the channels here, because I think I searched for the channels when I was in Idaho Falls, because these channels don't look right. So, or Twin Falls. But look at that clear image. HD TV quality. So scratch. Anyway, if you're gonna put anything in here, you can just twist this around and then push that up so you don't scratch the screen. The customers did it the wrong way, and they actually did this, and they put a bag in and out, and it scratched it. So, not cool. Okay, so still here, you have this little guy that pulls out. So, I'm gonna unplug the TV. It doesn't really plug in this way. There's a hole in the back for the TV. You can just put it down, this hole right there, and then you can plug it in. So I will do that. So that'll be plugged in later. So you have your little area. So when you're sitting down in bed, this will be right here. When I took this thing out to California and Arizona, when I was boondocking in the desert, I use this a lot to eat on. So it's nice, it comes right up to you. And then you can just watch TV, and it's also nice when you're cooking. You have this extended out, you have a little bit more counter space, because pretty, you know, pretty confined space. They used all the space they could in the best way. This thing kind of goes up and down if you're going to be driving back and forth. I put this thing in here so when you're laying down in here, you can just put the phone on here, and if you're using a phone, you can watch TV without holding the phone and having your arms go numb. So it's just a screw style, and just pull it off. Anyway, I'll let you put that wherever you want. Put that away, put the tree back in there. So this goes down. This drawer will not open with, this one will, but that one won't open unless this thing is up. And then sometimes it gets stuck. So you might have to get your hand in there behind, up in here, and kind of push some of the wires back if anything does get stuck in there. When you're driving around and stuff, things move. Sorry for the video quality. Doing the best I can. Okay, moving along to the air conditioner. So this is actually a heating pad, so, and a massager. So I'll have the cord in here for you with other supplies, and it is a DC, so you can just plug it into the actual DC outlet there. Cigarette lighter. I just put this here so on cold nights it just blocks the air conditioner, because it's set up. I don't have it in winterized mode now, where I had it blocked off so no wind can come in or critters or whatever. You can start it out on low fan, and then you can go to low cool. It's gonna be, it might warm up a little bit. If you get warm, turn it on, who cares? Or open the windows and then use the fan. You're on shore power, so you don't have to have the generator on. Try not to use the generator at all, ever, while you're plugged into shore power. Too much power going into the vehicle, it can blow things up. And then once you're on low cool for a while, you can cycle it to high. But if you turn it off, you have to wait 3 minutes to cycle it back on. It just prevents it from having some issue with the compressor. I don't know. Anyway, this is a new GE unit. I installed it last year, the biggest pain of my life. In here you have your table stand, so you can put your table stand. Obviously you'll have your bed made up here, and you can just leave it in bed mode the whole time because it's just by yourself. That table stand goes here, and you have in here, I need Oakley to help me, but underneath here you have your table. So basically you lift this up, and then you take that off, and you take this thing up. And why these move is because they can convert into a bed here, and you can have a person sleeping here because these turn, and these turn. You have a bed here, a bed here. You won't really need that, but I can show you if you wanted a different place to sleep, because it's kind of cool, because when you lay down you could actually see the stars when you're laying down at night if you wanted to. This window was leaking at one point, but I siliconed the holy crap out of it, and it is not leaking anymore. Okay, got a little sidetracked back there. If anything happens, I forgot to mention, like the air conditioner's not working, there's a switch on that plug. You just unplug it and then reset the breaker if it's not working, but cold air is pumping out right now. So let's go to the cooking. You have your cooking option of cooking in here, but I kind of recommend just using the Coleman stove. I'll provide for you on a table. It's just a lot easier, a lot less mess, so you don't get smoky in here. Because if you are cooking, you have to have this fan on. So you turn it one time, light turns on, so that's off. One time to the right, 2 times, no light, and then 3 times light and fan. So always make sure you turn that off when you're not connected to shore power, because that will drain the battery. It is LED, so it would take a long time to drain the battery, which the house battery is under there, which is separate from the main Dodge motor battery in the front. Those are completely separate units. Cool thing is when you're traveling, that will charge, the car's on, it'll charge the rear battery when you're in the DC mode. Oh crap, I left the lights on. My bad. Okay, so I have the hot water heaters on. I'm sure it's been heating up for a while. It should be, I don't know, probably like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, probably to get up to full temperature. And then just, you know, running the water to get that going, kind of wastewater, so you can kind of put that in a bucket if you wanted to. And then I could provide a bucket, or you can just put it in a pan, and then you can just throw it outside, so then you're not filling up your holding tank to you know, run the water. That's kind of the thing that I learned in the desert, that the tanks fill up pretty fast, minus the poop tank. You can go a long time without that. So right now the gray tank is only 1/3 full. In order to drain this thing, it's right kind of on the sensor If I shake the van, it'll probably move it a little bit. So when we dump the tanks, we have to have the tanks at, the gray tank has to be at 3/4. Doesn't really matter so much about this one. You just, once you get to that one, you really can't take any more poops because you don't want to overflow that tank, and you don't want to overflow any tank for that matter besides your fresh water, which I'll show you that later. It's getting cold in here. So back over here, you have your utensils, you have everything in here that you need, and Mom's gonna get you plastic utensils so then you're not using as much water, because then you'll have to basically get in there and fill up the water tank all the time if you're using a lot of water, and you'd have to go to the gas station with one of us because you can't go in the gas station. One of us would have to pay them $5 to drain the tanks. So here's all your utensils. This drawer can get hot while you're cooking, so sometimes I just take it out. You can put the cutting board here. There's a cutting board down here, so then that will give you a little extra space. You just set it down here with that tray there, so the stuff can get kind of hot. But if you're going to be using, this griddle works awesome. The problem with this griddle is, when you're using it, it'll get really hot. You have to use it on the lowest setting. Like, it's super, super hot, super fast. You can cook amazing pancakes on here. But I would light it and then take the buttons off and then stick the pan down. I've just been afraid these plastic buttons will melt because it kind of goes over. And then you just use all your hot pads and stuff like that, of course, to move that pan, and you can just let it cool off there, and then put the these guys back on. To turn it off, you will have to lift it up and put the buttons back on. You have your lighters up here. You have your Lysol wipes, so make sure you have all your disinfecting tools. You have your plenty of paper towels, and I'll have some of those towels as well. Those come in handy for when you're taking a shower, to wipe up the floor so it's not wet. So this is a lighter that you should use to light the propane. So let's go ahead and remove this. Another thing of paper towels, always around. So, wow, my hand's in the way. So, got to turn on this. And then go ahead and turn that on. And boom! It's lit. And then you want to make sure it's in the off position. If you start smelling gas, that means you didn't turn it. It kind of has like a nice little setting here where it locks in place. Here's your cooking spray, measuring cups, food from my last trip in January. Of course, it's all good. You won't be needing this because that's coffee. I got this from my trip when I went to California, so leaving those things up. And then here's your koozie to keep your drinks cold, your soda pops and whatnot. Just some lavender wipes for yoga mats. Your tin foil. All your spices are in here. You have tons of spices, so if there's anything else you want, just let me know and we can run it out to you. Matches, if you wanted to use those for starting a fire, or there's those fire starters, and you can do a fire in the backyard in the pit. All right, we'll just leave this here. This window goes back, these curtains, and then you can leave it open or close it, but if you're gonna be going to the bathroom and stuff, you're gonna be wanting this closed because the bathroom's right behind me. But you got your dish soap, and plenty of dish soap. Will provide more as needed, but you don't really need that too much. It's probably for your pots and pans. All right, moving along. Okay, so it's important to turn off your hot water heater. So basically when you turn this on, this is gonna flash. It'll try to light 3 times. And this guy is right here. This is your hot water heater. So this is really hot. This is the exhaust, so you don't want to touch that. That's for your furnace, so you have your intake and your exhaust. So that gets really hot, so you don't want to park near anything. You want it this far away from trees and all that stuff and other cars. I mean, you're fine about 18 inches away, 2 feet away. Anything closer, it might cause problems. Fire extinguisher, outside plug, GFI outlet. There's your other secondary heater if you want it at night. I would just use it in this one here and just set it here in the middle, aiming at you, and you can actually set a temperature on it. So plug it in. So you can actually go to the menu. So we're gonna do it. I would only use the so it's kind of hard to see, but there's 1 flame, 2 flames, and then that is just the fan. I'd only use the 1 flame. That's like 700 watts. The other one's a little too much. You know, at 1500 watts, it's a lot of power kind of running through this RV and through an extension cord. So I wouldn't really go and run on the 2nd flame. So please don't do that. But here is your temperature. So you can set whatever temperature you want, or a timer here. So you're like, want to go to, it's going to be in the 40s at night. So say if you just wanted to like do it 52, it'll hold 52. So there's that. And then it'll just kick it up and hold that temperature. So you know it's on automatic mode when that goes on. But simply just turn it off. The fan will still kick on for a while to cool off the unit, and then it'll shut off. And when you're not using it, just unplug it so it's not in your way. But I'm letting it cool off. Anyway, put new material down there. Put down all the new material here. No more carpet, because carpet is gross. So that makes it a lot easier. It's waterproof, so don't worry about it. You got paper towels. All right, here is your fantastic fan. So when you're driving around, always shut this. If you drive around, it can cause a backdraft and rip that top off. So if you're like cruising like, 15 miles an hour or something like that, that's okay. But always want that thing open. Like if you're gonna take a shower, you're gonna take a poop, you can turn it on. You're gonna cook, I would turn that on. So you have 2 modes. You have, or 3 speeds, so 1, 2, 3. And if you're gonna have this on, you're gonna want one of the windows open. Otherwise it won't really work efficiently. It'll put a draw on the system. You have a thermostat. So right now we have it on cold. Let me get back up here, the sun's kind of in the way. So we have a thermostat, so if you want it cold in here, you can let this thing run. And just to keep some air flowing, so you're not claustrophobic. But if you're like, okay, well, it's getting a little too cold, just crank it over until it stops. And then when it gets a little bit warmer in here, it'll actually kick it on automatically. So that's a pretty nice little feature. And if you're not using it, turn it off. But if you're using all these DC things, like this is DC, these lights are DC, the pump is DC, just keep monitoring this guy and make sure that you're charged. You can unplug the AC cord from outside, which I'll show you, and then you can plug it back in, because most of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to show that you are always charged, but it really isn't theoretically true. The battery doesn't get charged unless you actually hit that button, and then you only want to charge it for like just maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and that'll top it off. But the only way to really know if it's topped off is to unplug the AC cord from the outside. Anyway, things you might not need to know, but it's handy just in case, because I won't be here to show you. Generator. So if you're going to be going out and like say you want to go just hiking and you're just using something, you're camping or whatever, and you want to run the AC or whatever, don't really run it a whole lot. It uses the gas from the gas tank, so that will cost money, and then it has a counter on here, so we have 172 hours. It's not a bad thing to run it, it's just you don't need to run it all the time. And I never really run it with the AC. I usually run the AC when I'm plugged into shore power, and I mean, if it's really hot, of course you can. So a hot water heater's off, turn that off. This is your outside light for your porch light. It's right there. Anyway, this little guy right here protects you from going in and out, but I don't really put it there because you have this guy. So this is where all your food's gonna be. And when you pull this back, it does hit the curtains a little bit. If you're breaking these tabs, they're old. These are grandma curtains, they have to go. So be careful with them, but if you break them, meh, it happens. Here is you have some gloves, giant flashlight, beating stick, whatever you want to call it. That thing's amazing. So if you're ever bored, you have a big flashlight to go walk around with at night. More storage on that ledge here. These are LED lights. I'll supply you with the USB battery packs to run them. Just so you have some fun with those things. And then you just charge USB battery packs when you go to sleep or during the day. Let's go in the bathroom. Okay, so when it's in bed mode, this one doesn't really like to close all the way because I have that extra pad, but if you just do that little knob here, the little latch, you can do that, and this gives you your privacy. I was just doing a bunch of maintenance, took out the toilet and fixed a part in there, so I need to clean. Because you are on your way. You're on the plane right now. I'm on a freaking RV. Okay, so toilet, hot water heater, or the heaters on. Cold water only goes to the toilet. You got your hot here, you got your cold here. So you have kind of like a switch that goes off and on. I don't really know which one's off and on until I actually turn it on. So this is where I was thinking of getting a bucket where you can just start your shower, pressure, get your temperature right, and then then you just throw that water out. Then you're not using that water down the drain here. Don't put any water down here unless you're using it for poop and all that stuff. If you're peeing, you really don't need that much water. You don't need to put water in there at all because it'll flush when you press this guy. So if you're taking a poop, you have the right pedal. You want to fill it up, depends on how giant poop you have, about there. And then you want to probably only flush once. And I mean, if it's big or whatever, you just don't want to flush a really quick flush. You're going to like do it sitting backwards, but you're going to want to like not do it fast, because if you do it fast, it might chop the poo in half. So you just hold it down like that. That should be plenty. I've never had an issue. It just goes right down. Velcro that holds this in. I made this shower head connection. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. I'm going to put the phone down. Okay, so we are in. Mom's calling. Just a minute.